Okay, ladies and gents, part two of my Dear Evan Hansen review. I apologize that it is a day later. Um, I fully expected to do the whole thing last night, every single part, get the whole review out there, but part one took like an hour and 15 minutes to upload onto Facebook. And as it was uploading, and I was making sure it was uploading and that it wasn't stopping, I was getting tired. I had work this morning. I had to be up really early, and um, I also thought to myself that I wanted time to process what I'm going to say because as we get further and further into the review, we're going to be going into the heavier stuff with the show and with myself and my relationship with the show or movie. You know what I mean. um, so I just decided to let part one upload, and I left it there and just went to bed for the night. Went to work this morning, and I'm ready for part two. I am going to try to finish the review tonight, but I make no promises. This might be a daily upload until I finish. We'll see. Depends on how much I end up saying, because I still really haven't mapped this out. I'm just going off the top of my head as my other reviews. I haven't taken notes, which I considered, but that'll be when I'm more of an experienced reviewer and I can actually put things together. For now, this is just my ramblings and so on and so forth for friends. I have decided to upload these reviews to YouTube as well because I have plenty of friends who don't have Facebook, um, and they want to see the review. So, I just put it out there. I thought about keeping it private and just sending links, because I'm not sure I really want this to be available to the public. I mean, yeah, YouTube's a huge platform, so who knows who would see it, but eh. So I did upload part one. I'm going to upload part two on there after I upload it on Facebook. Um, and I've made it public for anybody to see. And I will be letting my other friends know that that the review is being put on there so that they can check it out. A lot of you are really, really interested in hearing what I have to say, which is really shocking to me. I've had the people who reach out, but even then, I couldn't have expected this kind of reaction. So it's a bit shocking, but I am thankful, so I'll take that. Um, I am going to put a warning at the beginning of this, and I'll be putting a warning at the beginning of every other part, however many there are left. We're going to be getting into some really heavy stuff here. Those of you who know the show, obviously, I'm still in spoiler territory now. I'm not going back to no spoilers, it's just spoilers from here on out. So, obviously, if you stuck around, you know the show, or you don't care, which, come on, if you don't care, whatever. You'll get the gist because I'm explaining the story. But I'm putting a heavy content warning here. I'm going to be talking about the themes and context of the show, which includes mental illness, suicide, depression, anxiety. I mean, you name a mental illness, it kind of has some sort of place in this show, even if not directly mentioned. And I'm also going to be talking about my own problems with these things, which, again, obviously, if you're my friend on Facebook, I mean enough to you that we're friends. So obviously, it means you care about me. So if it's too hard to hear because I'm going to be going in depth with my personal experiences, I'm going to be telling you guys things that nobody on earth has ever heard before. I never even told my mother some of these things. So this is going to be a first for me, and that's why I know it's going to be rough. So again, like I made in my post announcing the review, if it is too much, please turn it off. Do not watch. I don't want you to be affected negatively for my sake. But with that, let's get on with the review. I left off. Evan has just found out that Connor committed suicide, and the Murphys think that him and Connor were best friends because Connor had Evan's note to himself when he did the deed. Um, And then they see that Connor is the only person that has signed Evan's cast, which only makes it worse. So they invite him to dinner because they want Evan to tell them about their son, because they're thinking that this is a kid they didn't know. Which, if we had the scene at the beginning of the show of the Murphys at breakfast arguing about Connor going to school and all that, we'd already kind of know, but they cut that out of the movie. I really don't understand why they cut that out of the movie, even if it's a fleeting intro or something, you know? I mean, it's not a long scene in the show, so why couldn't it be in the movie? I really don't like Connor and Zoe being introduced at the school, and then Mr. and Mrs. Murphy being introduced when they tell Evan that Connor has killed himself. It's a change I'm not really fond of, and I don't understand why. There seemed to be no reason why, other than they just thought it was a filler scene that didn't really need to be in there. Um, but Evan's freaking out. He goes to his friend Jared, who I despise. Jared. There's not a single good thing about him, and I wish the character didn't exist. But I guess they had to have some sort of scum lord that would help Evan out with his conundrum. Is the nice word I'll put for it. And he's just kind of saying, I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm just going to go and I'm going to tell them the truth. And pretty quickly we cut to Evan going to the Murphys for dinner. And it's awkward. Mrs. Murphy's trying to be nice because she thinks that this kid has lost his best friend. And there's a whole uneasy tension. Zoe is very apprehensive, which Caitlin Dever played it perfectly. I'm telling you, she's the best thing about this movie. And again, like I said in part one, I am definitely biased, but I'm also not, because she really is an amazing actress. So the first, not big change, but enough of a change to notice that I'm really not okay with, is they keep Evan silent pretty much through the whole dinner scene up until the song starts, which, for those of you who know the song and know the show and have already seen the movie by the time of watching is, it's For Forever. And it's been a while since I've watched the show, so I don't know the nitty-gritty details, and I really didn't want to go back and rewatch it before seeing the movie. But in the novel, Evan starts to come up with the lie pretty easily. He explains, Zoe kind of questions him about the emails and everything, and Evan is the one that puts out there that Connor had a separate account. That's part of the lie. And in this, they kind of excuse him from that by saying, they have Mrs. Murphy say, well, we know he had separate accounts that he kept secret from us. And it's like, I know why they did that, and I'm not okay with them doing that. You either make Evan the monster that he is, or you don't. You don't get to take these little details away from him that are part of the lie and have, I guess in a way so that you can absolve him a bit. Either way, you've created a monstrous character, so why take those little details away from him? I don't, it's so obvious that they did it because they've heard the problems that people have with the show, and they wanted to change it to make Evan a little less monstrous. I'm not okay with that. You either make him a monster or you don't. But that's just the first one. I've got plenty more to get into after this. So anyway, the Murphys keep pressuring Evan, and eventually he opens up. He mentions that they went looking at trees, and the Murphys mention the orchard, and I don't remember if Evan brings up the orchard first. I mean, he didn't know it exists, so it's probably the same way, so that's fine. But so he hears orchard and he goes along with it, and the Murphys kind of spoon feed him the info that he needs to sell the story well, and that's when For Forever starts. Beautiful song. I love that song. Realistically, I only hate one song in the whole show / movie, and we'll get to that. The rest of them I feel indifferent about or I love, and For Forever is a beautiful song, but with the context, it's completely ruined for me. Thankfully, it's one of those that I can separate context a bit when I listen to it. The sequence is fine. It's Evan just standing there singing at the Murphys, and it is a little awkward. And then in between, they'll cut to shots of Evan and Connor in the forest, so that you can see this imagination that he's building. And it's fine. I like it. It's better than just having the camera focus on Ben Platt and watch him sing at you. Because let me tell you, some of the close-ups they have on him are awful. Because, like I said in part one, he's very much a stage actor and not a film actor. Some of the faces he makes and the way that he kind of has this stare, I mean, he looks like a psychopath, and it's really creepy. It a couple of times when I wasn't emotionally invested in the show yet, or the movie yet, it was making me really uncomfortable. And it just continued until the end of the movie. Um, it never got better. It's always Ben Platt doing his stage persona. So yeah, For Forever was done well. It's fine, whatever. Um, and move on. Next scene is Evan telling Jared that he fucked up royally, and him basically saying, "Yeah, I made up a lie, and now I need you to help me make fake emails." And they go through their whole comedy spiel of, Jared's gonna charge him like 2 grand per email or something like that, and Evan says, I think I can give you $20, and Jared says, fine, but I'm not gonna act like I'm happy about it or whatever. I hate Jared. I hate him. They didn't make him any better in the movie, but I'm not here to talk about Jared because really he's such a non-thing to me. Like, I already hate him, and he's supposed to be a comedy relief of sorts, and he's not funny. He's just an asshole. Like, he's way more of an asshole than Evan. If this show was called Dear Jared, whatever the fuck his last name is, I wouldn't be giving this thing the time of day. But so then it jumps into them making the emails, and that song I just mentioned, that is the only song in the show I hate, comes up, which those of you who know what song it is, and as a lot of my friends at work are when I mention it, you're probably going to be shocked by this, but I despise Sincerely Me. There's not a single redeeming thing about it, in my opinion. It's the one song I can't separate from context, and it pisses me off beyond belief. Because it's just two high school kids manipulating a family into believing this lie about their dead son. And in the song, they have this persona of the dead son sing what is being typed in the emails. So Jared writes funny things like, I rub my nipples and start moaning with delight. And Evan's like, what the fuck, dude? And he goes, I'm just trying to be accurate. This is a kid that has just committed suicide 3 days ago. You tell me how this is okay. And the worst part is, and I knew it was going to happen, because it happened in the slime tutorial I watched. Connor says that in the song, and the entire audience behind me in the theater laughed. I mean, laughed. So the movie already had them on its side. They'd already been manipulated. And I rolled my eyes and I looked at it with disgust. How can you write a song that is two kids, almost adults, writing fake emails to show to a family of a dead kid, and the song's played for comedy? That's unjustifiable to me. And this is where the movie and the show start to lose me. Up until, like, For Forever, I don't like it in context because it is just a lie. But I can forgive it, kind of. Because, you think, well, he fucked up, but it's not in too deep. He could say he was under stress and, he kind of gave in because he just wanted to give the Murphys something good. It's still not good, and there would still be consequences for it, albeit not as big as the consequences that are there by the end of the show. But it would be a lot more redeemable, and as soon as Sincerely Me happens, nope, it's too far gone. I don't see how the writers wrote this song and put the upbeat, happy, jovial music to it and thought it was okay. And I don't see how everyone watches this song, whether it be by the show or in the movie or listens to it and hears what's going on. If they don't know the context, it's one thing, just listening to the song. But if you know it, you know the show, you know the scene that is playing with this song, and you laugh at it and you enjoy the story that's being sold to you. I don't see how people can find that funny. And yeah, I have dark humor. Nothing's off limits for me. I make jokes about me killing myself all the time. I do. But to take a kid that killed himself 3 days ago and say this shit about him with the purpose of manipulating the parents. I don't care that the funny stuff doesn't actually end up in the emails because Evan knows it's fucked up. I don't care. My problem here comes with the writers. I don't see how they did this and thought this was okay. And this is strike one for me. This is where I start to go, okay, maybe this show is actually problematic. Because again, I read the synopsis. I thought it was bad and it like upset me, but I wasn't as upset as I am now knowing it as I do. It wasn't until I watched the show that it was a problem for me. And I will forever hate this song. There's nothing anybody on this planet will be able to say that makes me love it. I don't know how they can market the show or the movie off of that song. I don't care how happy and upbeat and jovial it is. I don't care. It's dark and it's wrong. And yeah, you call me a hypocrite if you want because I have dark humor myself. And say that I'm just being upset because it's something that is very near and dear to me. It's a tender subject for me. Use that excuse because I'm gonna tell you something right now. As all of you know, my mother died at the beginning of this year. It was back in February. I took 2 weeks off of work, came back for a week, and I realized I couldn't do it yet, so I took another 2 weeks off. And I had things to take care of. So it was good. Having things to take care of was perfect. And I came back to work, and immediately someone accidentally made some kind of mom joke to me at work. And everyone kind of went quiet and everything, and it was the air was tense. And I laughed my ass off. Because guess what, people? That's how I process grief. I have made so many jokes about my mom dying, I've lost count. She'd probably hate them because my mom didn't like my sense of humor. But that's how I process grief, and oh boy, she knew that. So call me a hypocrite if you want, but I have my limit somewhere. And I mean, you could twist this song and this point in some way if you want to maybe make it work a little better, but in the end, you don't make it work. Because in the end, it is still writing fake emails to show to a family to make them believe that you were best friends with their dead son who died 3 days ago. And the problem is, it is an upbeat, happy, jovial song, and the problem is, they have the actor playing Connor singing the lyrics of what is going on in the email. Even the derogatory, crappy things that Jared puts in before they fix it. You know, they have Evan point out how shitty it is, and in the movie, it's the actor of Connor following the camera while he sings the lyrics, and then it's Evan singing the lyrics while looking at the camera. So nice way to do the scene. I will give them that. No matter how much I hate it, it was a clever and nice way to do it. And then they show scenes of them doing things together, like in the woods. They show them playing like a Dance Dance Revolution game and on go-karts, and it's a fun scene. It really is. But that's the problem. It shouldn't be. This song shouldn't exist. This song shouldn't be in it. It shouldn't be as popular as it is. And I will never fucking understand why people laugh at the supposedly funny lines of the song. Oh boy, if you think I've ranted about this song for long, you haven't seen anything. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a few parts because I'm at 20 minutes in, and I certainly did not think I was going to be ranting about this song this long. But for those of you who have always wondered why I hate that song so much, there you go. I could keep going on it for hours, but I've gotten my point across. Um, so 20 minutes in, I got about 5 more minutes to record, so I won't go too much further in. Just a little bit. Evan shows the Murphys the letters, the emails, and they're happy, and he's happy that they're happy. And at this point, Evan, I truly believe that Evan started it out in his misguided way of him wanting to help them. That he's such an awkward person, and I totally relate to that. Evan's got a little bit at the beginning of the show and the movie where his mom chastises him for not eating, and she shows him that he left money, and he goes, "Yeah, but the credit card doesn't work, so you have to you have to go to the delivery driver and give them cash, and you have to count out exact." He freaks out over the smallest little thing that is nothing to most people, but guess what? That's me. I relate to that. I will purposefully avoid people. I use self checkouts at Walmart, Target, wherever I go. I try not to talk to employees when they ask me if I need help with anything. I freeze. I really do. But then I just try and move on with my day. I don't talk to people. I don't pick up phone calls. I don't like picking up phone calls. It's too much for me. You want to talk to me, you text me. And even then, I'm not sure I'll answer because I just don't want to talk to anybody most of the time. I relate to Evan there. I relate to Evan in a lot of ways, and trust me, we'll get into that as the review goes on. But I'm not at the point to get into the heavy stuff about me yet. That comes as I get further into the show. It will relate more to what I have to say about me. So I relate to that. So I truly believe that he wanted to help the Murphys in the beginning. In his misguided way, he thought that that was the best thing he could do. And it sucks, and it's wrong, and he knew it was wrong, but he's trying to find some way to be there for these people. And I mean, he's in love with Zoe, so he gets to be close to her. And I totally don't think in the beginning that he sees it as a way to get in with her, because he's not trying to start a relationship with her. I mean, he's nervous as all hell. Um, so I'm totally not upset with Evan at this point. I'm upset that he did it, and I'm upset that he actually went through with showing the emails to the Murphys and building this lie. But again, we're not too in too deep. I mean, we're in a lot deeper now than we were with just the first dinner, but we're still not that far gone to where he can't redeem it and make it right. Which rest of the show, as you know, it just gets to be way too late. Um, but Zoe is still apprehensive. She points out what a monster Connor was, and points out all these times that he was cruel to her, and she's wondering why they're mourning him and why they're missing him, because what the hell did he do? He was awful. No, none of us wanted him here. Yada, all that stuff, which I totally get. And in the end, Zoe is pretty much one of the only characters I sympathize with through the whole show. I don't have anything against the Murphys in general. The three of them are definitely the ones I sympathize with the most, and even Connor. But that's a whole other thing that, again, I will get into as I go on. Um, but yeah, she's upset, and Mrs. Murphy's just so happy, and Mr. Murphy is indifferent at the moment. Just watching sports, and he's like, "Yeah, I got the emails," and then he just kind of shows the papers, and he doesn't really read them. So Mrs. Murphy's the only one that's definitely really into it at this point. Which Amy Adams, it hurts to see her being that hopeful over something false. I do love Amy Adams. Um, and as we finish this, we go into the next song, which is Requiem, which is a great song. But I have stuff to say about that, and I am now getting close to my limit on recording. So this will have to be part two. I'm sorry, most of this was me ranting about one song, but I cannot stress how much I hate that song. So it was important. And again, this review might end up being a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. When I said 10 parts, I was being sarcastic. but we'll see how much I have to say as I go on. I better stop it here. I'm going to upload part 2 on Facebook. It'll take forever. And then I'll upload it on YouTube. That didn't take too long. And depending on where I'm at by the time it is uploaded on both, I might record part 3, or again, this might be a 3-part upload thing. Sorry, a daily upload thing. I am so tired. But hopefully I'll see you all again tonight, and if not, I will see you tomorrow, and I hope you enjoyed part 2, and part 3 we will get into some really heavy stuff. You thought this was heavy, you haven't seen anything yet. So, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.